because so much is riding on your tires.
We like stars at night and sunny days. Home run hitters and touchdown plays. We like the great outdoors and our Midwest style. The Twin Cities and a hometown smile. The time is now. The word is gone. Look at Minnesota, it's CCO. Look at CCO. Look at Minnesota, it's CCO. Look at CCO.
Tell me, O wisest Swami, what is the answer?
The Eagles have a tough defense, but unbelievably, the Saints are undefeated. I wish I had a television.
The Blue Jays rally falls short, but we had excellent relief pitching on both sides tonight. Minnesota wins 5-4, and the Chevrolet player of the game is Dan Gladden of the Twins. 2 for 5, a run scored, and a fine defensive play. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the Special Olympics. Right now, let's meet him along with Leslie Visser. Leslie?
I'm here, Dick, with one of the heroes of the game, Dan Gladden. Dan, you guys got 5 runs early and held him off. What was key?
Well, I think, we were looking for his curveball, and he was throwing it, and then when we were looking for it, we seemed to hit it for base hits, and I think the crowd tonight responded pretty good.
What about for you? You seem to respond in postseason. You went 2 for 5 tonight. You've been struggling a little coming in.
Well, but that all doesn't matter right now. This is just the postseason, like you said, and I'm just happy to be able to be in the lineup and come out and contribute to the club.
Good luck against Juan Guzman. Now let's go up to Pat O'Brien.
Should sleep with that glove tonight. It did him well today. You know, it was a Midwesterner who once said, there is no place like home. And in postseason baseball, the Twins are now 7-0 since 1987 in this building. And so the Homer Hankies will take just a few hours off, and they'll be back tomorrow shortly after lunch. So that's it for Game 1. For Dick Stockton, Jim Cott, and Leslie Visser, I'm Pat O'Brien saying so long from the Metrodome, where once again the final score, Minnesota 5, Toronto 4. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Minnesota Twins. Then in prime time at 8:30 Eastern, it's Game 1 of the National League Championship Series when the Atlanta Braves take on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 1 of the 1991 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. The U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Old Spice deodorant, because prevention is the ultimate form of protection. Count on it.
You've been watching Major League Baseball on CBS Sports, home of the biggest games in baseball, the League Championship Series and the World Series. It wasn't easy. They had to work late, but the Twins go 1-up in this series. But as everyone in Canada knows, they schedule this one for 7. See you tomorrow.
This unofficial moment in our national pastime is brought to you by the official airline of Major League Baseball, United. Come fly the friendly skies.
When you look for champions, you look to CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
If you know anything about this game, you know that some things never change. But if you know about getting great pizza delivered, you know that nobody stands up to Pizza Hut's delivery. The difference is the pizza.
Pizza Hut Delivery serves the Twin Cities. And now, for a limited time, get up to 4 medium pizzas for $4 each when you buy one at the regular price.
Here in Minnesota, we talk a lot about quality of life. And we go to remarkable lengths to preserve it for generations to come. So it's no coincidence there are Minnesotans who feel the same way about the quality of our health care. Share and PHP have joined to create Medica, the remarkable health plan from Share and PHP.
Everyone knows it pays to have an advantage. That's why we've introduced the Norwest Advantage account, a package of valuable privileges including free checking, free checks, loan discounts, free instant cash machine use, and more for just $2,500 in virtually any combination of deposits or loans. If you want the advantage, get the Norwest Advantage account. Norwest Banks. Come to expect the best.
These are tonight's headline stories on the 10 o'clock news.
The Senate decides what to do about Clarence Thomas's nomination to the Supreme Court. They decide to wait a week to vote.
In Dimension, what the biggest construction project in the Twin Cities will finally accomplish.
And you've been watching tonight's lead story. The Twins get a good start on the Blue Jays at the Dome tonight.
You are looking live at a place where it has been happening all night, and you're hearing it in the background. The once subdued crowds now coming alive at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, downtown Minneapolis.
And the race for the pennant is already started. Hi, I'm Colleen Needles.
And I'm Don Shelby. Welcome to this edition of the 10 o'clock news.
We're going to hear from some of the Twins tonight. We're going to look at some of the key plays.
That is, if we can hear from them. But first, we want to show you what's happening right now outside the Dome. The part that you're hearing, Mike Walsher is right outside the Dome. Mike?
Well, Donna Colleen, could it be deja vu? It could. It probably will. There was an explosion of people as they poured out of the doors of the Metrodome at the last out, cheering, applauding their team. They had gone in a little bit on the quiet side, but they were saving their energy. They expended that energy, waving their hankies inside, and it's, I wouldn't say a mad scene out here, but an awful lot of excited and energized fans outside the Metrodome. We'll talk with a couple of them right here. What'd you think of the game? Any doubts?
Well, it was a really good game. We had no doubts. No doubts. We're the one that stole the bases. They were supposed to have the speed, but we're the ones stealing the bases.
What was the scene like inside? Was the energy like 87? I understand you were here then.
It was somewhat like it in crucial situations, but this isn't 87, this is 91. It's a different ball club, it's a different situation, and I think the fans reacted as such.
All right, very good. Well, earlier on the way in, the fans were perhaps a tad bit quiet. They were just waiting for the emotion and the Dome magic to take over. The band was jazzed up, but arriving fans really weren't. The mood was a tad subdued. Twins mania was nowhere to be seen, not yet anyway. Sure, the Homer hankies sold by the bundle, but fans admitted they're having a tough time catching the fever of 4 years ago.
Well, it doesn't seem as exciting as it did 4 years ago, I guess, but I don't think it can ever be as magic as that night was.
Yeah, it's because we did it 4 years ago, and the mood isn't quite like it was last time because, you know, last time we hadn't seen playoffs in, what, 15, 20 years? So, I don't know. Maybe that's it.
At Kaufman Union at the University of Minnesota, these students quickly abandoned any pretense of studying when the Twins scored in the first inning.
What are you supposed to be studying?
Economics. Hopefully my teacher's not watching. But no, the game's great. I probably won't get much studying done tonight, but that's okay.
Well, we were over at the University of Minnesota at Kaufman Union. That's probably a mile away from the Metrodome. In the bottom of the first inning, when Gladden got the first hit, we were just getting out of our news vehicle. We heard the roar from the Metrodome all the way over on campus. We looked around thinking, what in the world is that? It hit us. It's the crowd at the Metrodome. It was wild inside, Donnie Colleen.
It's the home fans.
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, it was shades of 87 all over again to hear those fans going crazy inside.
Well, you've heard what it was like on the outside. Now we're going to go inside to find out with Mark Rosen standing by with one of the keys to today's game, Shane Mack. Mark?
That's right, Don. And Shane, the Twins got off to a great start, and you had to hold your breath for a long time. How anxious were you guys as the innings wore on tonight?
It was getting kind of scary there. Those guys do have a good hitting ball club, and as you can see, they scored 4 quick runs.
Well, the Twins scored 5 quick runs in the early innings. In fact, we're going to take a look at the one that put the Twins up 5-0. Your hit over Joe Carter, and again, an indication of the Twins' ability, your ability to go to all fields here.
Well, I was just trying to get a good pitch to hit and just make good, solid contact.
Joe Carter had trouble adjusting to it immediately. A run scored. The Twins went up 5-0 at that point. You surprised that the feeling going in, the Twins were going to be able to run on Candiotti with his knuckleball, the 4 stolen bases tonight?
No, I didn't. I know that knuckleball is kind of hard to handle for the catcher, and he has to make adjustments, and he has kind of a slow windup. So we were able to get good jumps.
The Twins have been so good, Shane, at keeping their emotions in tow. You won tonight's game. You're going to come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Going to be trouble getting ready for that one?
No, I don't think so. We just have to go out there, work as hard as we did tonight, or even harder, and hopefully put a lot of runs up on the board and hopefully come out with the win.
We'll see a little different pitcher tomorrow with Guzman throwing at you.
Yes, he is a good pitcher. He spots the ball well, throws really hard, so hopefully we can score some more runs out there.
Congratulations, Shane. That's game night.
Thank you.
Nice start and one indication why the Twins are so strong in the lineup. Shane Mack batting 7th tonight with that .310 average. A couple of base hits, very instrumental, nice defensive play. That's why one of the reasons why the Twins won tonight 5-4. Lane and Don, back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. Well, you know, tonight here at the Dome, there's even a crime story to report. A special Minneapolis Police Department unit prowled the perimeter of the stadium tonight looking for scalpers. And they managed to nab 18 people who offered to sell undercover officers tickets at $10 to $150 above face value. Most of those caught were first-time scalpers. The professionals have learned to be careful.
Being used. They're selling junk baseball cards for $100, and then you can buy the ticket for face value, that type of thing. And hand signals to people across the street, like, we need 2 tickets, we need 1, no, don't sell to that guy type thing.
Scalping is a misdemeanor. Offenders are given tickets and then fined, and one person tonight, however, was arrested after struggling with the police. We're going to go now to our interview set where Tom Kelly is standing by.
For the knuckleball and putting a lot of pressure on Borders, curving the dirt, knuckleball in the dirt. He's got to catch the knuckleball to start with, which is a hard enough job. So we thought we'd try to play aggressively, and it seemed like an opportunity to run, and so we were fortunate to get some people on base, and they were the right people, and we did some running, and Knobloch had a nice double hit and run type there, and it worked out well for us. So it did work for us. They did catch us on the 1st and 3rd. They got us there. Shane Mack just broke a tad too soon, and they did pitch out on Knobloch and nailed him. So they got us a few times, and we got them a few times.
Another one at a time. Yeah, John? Would you talk about Willis?
Yeah, Carl, the big train Willis, it's just an amazing story this year for the Twins and for Carl, for all the time and the years he spent in the minor leagues, and to get an opportunity to pitch at the major league level and compete in the championship. It's got to be a dream for this guy. I went out to take him out of the game, and he says, TK, I really appreciate this. This is, he was elated just to be on the field, and he's special for me because I'm pretty much the same way. I was in 8 years in the minor leagues and got a chance to play at the major league level for 70 days, and so I know what he's talking about there, and he did a fabulous job. He came in, I think they hit a long fly, and Danny caught, and then Mullenix, I believe, hit a sharp grounder, and Elias made a good play on, and after that he did very, very well, and I took him out when Olerud come up. I felt he was their best left-handed hitter, and I wanted to give Aggie was ready to pitch. He was warmed up and ready to go, and we thought Aggie was good for 4 or 5 hitters, being that he hadn't pitched for a couple days.
That's Tom Kelly talking about tonight's game in the interview room to all the media, where they gather to talk to the managers and the players. And happy Tom Kelly tonight.
And talking specifically there about Carl Willis, who put on a wonderful performance in the long relief and did a great job. And we have other news as well to bring you tonight, starting with the Clarence Thomas story. But for that, we're going to go back to our newsroom, where Amy Marsalis is standing by with that and other news. Amy?
Thanks, Don. It's pretty quiet in here compared to out there. Well, in our headline story tonight, a 1-week delay in the Senate vote on Supreme Court nominee Judge Clarence Thomas. That action by the Senate was taken to investigate allegations he sexually harassed a former aide. Judge Thomas had asked for a 48-hour delay to clear his name, but the vote won't come until a week from today. Senator John Danforth of Missouri told the Senate he is angered by these developments.
I act as a spokesman again with great pain and great anger at an injustice which is being perpetrated on him.
Today, the woman who's made the allegations, law professor Anita Hill, said she's willing to go to Washington if necessary to help Senate investigators as they look into the case. In local news now, St. Paul police are searching for a man who beat a foreign exchange student unconscious last night just off the McAllister College campus. Police say the 21-year-old Yugoslavian woman, a student at McAllister, had just finished parking her car off Summit Avenue at about midnight when she was attacked.
A male suspect, black male suspect, attacked her without apparently any cause, without talking to her, punched her in the face a number of times. She fell to the ground unconscious. He kicked her a number of times. And then apparently he removed her knapsack.
Police believe the suspect tried to steal another woman's purse just 45 minutes earlier. That woman managed to escape. Northwest Airlines has bought itself a new airline tonight, taking over the planes, gates, and routes of Chicago's Midway Airlines. Northwest is paying a little more than $174 million for Midway, going beyond its earlier bid for a few of Midway's assets and deciding to take the whole. Northwest says it will accommodate all passengers with Midway tickets. Airline analysts have said Northwest has to continue expanding if it wants to survive among the major airlines. And here's a brief summary now of other world news. The country of Haiti has a new president installed under the guns of a military coup. Last night, soldiers surrounded and fired on Haiti's legislature, where members took the hint and voted in favor of throwing out the democratically elected president. But tonight, the Organization of American States is considering military action against the coup to reinstate the president. And you remember this, Saddam Hussein's so-called super gun? So powerful it could hit targets in Israel or Saudi Arabia. But it will never hit those targets now, as today United Nations inspectors saw it chopped up and the pieces welded shut. And 2 years after the Exxon Valdez oil spill, Alaska and the federal government have locked up a $1 billion damages settlement with the oil company. A federal judge gave final approval to the settlement today, saying the revised settlement will do more to help rehabilitate Prince William Sound. And I'll be back later with tonight's Dimension Report. Tonight we'll have two stories about I-394, a new attempt to ease congestion as construction work continues, and some surprising news about what it will be like to drive on 394 when construction is finished a year from now. Can hardly wait. First, back to Don and Colleen at the Metrodome.
All right, thank you, Amy. Well, we've got lots more about the Twins coming up on this late edition of the 10 o'clock news. After weather, how to beat the parking headaches you're going to encounter if you're anywhere near downtown Minneapolis tomorrow afternoon during that game.
And next, a rivalry between the fans as people put their money where their mouths are. And now we're going to tell you about the Go for 5 numbers. 28, 5, 30, 32, 25. Go for 5 numbers for tonight. 28, 5, 30, 32, and 25.
Red arms, red lips, red stars, red fingers, red wall, red song, red bowling ball, red telephone, red box, red shoes, red white and blue, red halo on your bed. Seeing red, you're right on target. Seeing red, marked out, looks our way. Seeing red, you're right on target. Seeing red, red, right on target.
If your little ones weren't born to be outside, bundle them up on the inside with the hearty wheat and toasted malt goodness of Malto Meal hot cereal.
LDB International presents L.A. Law's Corbin Burnson Theater of the Night Tour, Saturday, October 19th at the Orpheum. Tickets at the Orpheum are called 989-5151.
Long distance for business. Bringing the best to you is what we do. This includes the best network, the best discounts, the best call detail and report. Using LDB does lower your long distance expense. LDB is the best. Let us prove it.
For the first time, LaToya Jackson's father responds to his daughter's allegation.
It's a bunch of lies that he was sold to for their own selfish gain. I never hit LaToya
in my life.
So why is LaToya accusing him?
Someone is making me do these things that she's very close to.
An exclusive interview with LaToya Jackson's father.
The doors are always open when I come home.
Watch Inside Edition.
Tuesday night at 10:35 on Channel 4.
Beautiful downtown shots from the sky from Dale Dobish, who's been working overtime today, not only for us, but for CBS and the national broadcast of the ACLS game. And thanks to Dale for staying with us. And welcome to you back here to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, where it's kind of settled down just a little bit.
People are making their way. As you can see, the streets are now crowded as the sidewalks used to be, as people were pouring out of the Metrodome. Very, very happy crowd tonight.
Now, when it comes to the Twins merchandise and memorabilia, many Twin Cities merchants say it's time for fans to step up to the plate and buy.
That's because so far, home crowd sales are flat, and vendors say Toronto Blue Jays fans are winning the buying game. In fact, many stores have sold out of Blue Jays hats, pennants, and some shirts. Street vendors say sales are in a slump compared to the same time in 1987. To make matters worse,
Wrong team.
Well, I don't like to beat people up in public. It says stop violence in Minnesota.
Many vendors say the Twins fans are just waiting for a couple of victories before they jump in on the fan-aware wagon. You know, I think I know the problem. We have all this stuff left over from the 1987 World Series, and so we're still wearing that.
Yeah,
not that we're...
And the problem is, of course, Toronto fans, you know, never did buy anything because they never were in the World Series.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's probably the reason. What do you think?
I think
well, we're going to take a break now from baseball to find out a little bit about the weather. So we're going to toss that news ball back to Mike Fairborn in the studio, right? Oh, watch out, Mike. There you go.
How'd you do that?
Good catch, Mike.
I'll tell you, anybody that's outside that didn't wear a jacket to the dome may wish that they had had one with them, because it's a little bit chilly out there tonight. Temperature dropped off rather quickly. And in spite of the fact that everybody's talking about the Twins tonight, I think earlier today, everybody was just talking about this gorgeous, gorgeous day that we had. In the morning, be a little bit cooler. We'll start out with about 45 degrees. It'll be sunny here in the Twin Cities. Again, almost all day long. And today was absolutely breathtaking. We hit 75 degrees in the Twin Cities today. People out enjoying the park and the fall color and just everything associated with the outdoors. It got a little bit breezy in the afternoon. We experienced that. We were live from the dome at 5 and 6 o'clock. A little bit of a breeze up there from where we were broadcasting from, but no complaints at all. 75, 44 early this morning. No precipitation in the last 24 hours, and it's going to stay dry. It looks like the rest of the week. Maybe some showers coming in toward the end of the weekend. Sunday, we're going to kind of split the weekend. We'll show you that in the extended outlook here in a minute. Outside right now, 55. It's clear. Winds are still out of the northwest at 8 miles an hour, but that's just making it very pleasant. It may have gotten a little steamy in the dome with 53,000 people in there, too. I don't know. Maybe they're welcoming that little northwest breeze with a temperature of around 55 degrees. Well, here's what the satellite picture shows. We did have some clouds down across the southern part of the state late last night. Those raced on to the east, leaving us with mostly clear skies, except late this afternoon. Some clouds again brushed across the southern part of the state, but you can see no clouds at all in the upper Midwest. Some clouds starting to work their way up into extreme northwestern North Dakota right now, and that's about it. Temperature-wise, across the five-state area, temperatures in the 40s up to the north, 50s down to the south. We were in the 70s across all the southern half of the state tonight. Tomorrow, about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. We should see high temperatures only in the 60s. The national radar, again, we're having a hard time finding any precipitation at all. Down over Florida, a few scattered showers that are moving away, but everybody else across the country reporting dry weather. We could have had this ball game just about any place outdoors today if we had wanted to. A cool front that came through, it switched the winds around to the northwest, came through as a dry front, and even though high pressure is building in slightly out of Canada, it's more of a Pacific origin, so it's not going to get real cold like it did over the weekend, but we will see temperatures drop down a little bit tomorrow, and the winds are going to stay out of the northwest somewhere around 15 to 20 miles an hour. High temperatures only in the 60s. Here's the forecast. For tonight, it'll be mostly clear with 42 degrees for a low. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 15 miles an hour. There's a live shot, by the way, of what people are facing outside as they're trying to get out of downtown. Mostly sunny tomorrow and cooler, 62 degrees for a high with northwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Tomorrow night, mostly clear and cooler, the low temperature of 37 degrees. And for Thursday, mostly sunny. Again, a temperature right around what we'll be tomorrow, maybe a little bit cooler, right around 60 degrees. I don't know, this work coming that way, it'll be At least mostly sunny the rest of the week until Sunday. A chance of some showers on Sunday. Highs in the 60s. Overnight lows right around 40 degrees. We dare try that again?
Yeah,
we'll toss it back to you guys then.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, thank you very much. Nice peg there. Keep throwing that high heat. We like that weather.
Put a little knuckleball on it next time.
Thank you very much, Mike. Now, city officials are prepared for what could be a traffic nightmare tomorrow afternoon when thousands of Twins fans converge on the downtown area, once again looking for parking spots all around the Metrodome. Now, consumer reporter Sylvia Gambardella has some advice if, especially, you work downtown or you're planning to go to the game.
Question: how do you find parking for 50,000 Twins fans in a city which has only 50,000 parking spots, many of which are already taken up by downtown workers? The answer is provide free bus service to the Metrodome from lots outside the city. So tomorrow between 11:30 and 1:30, fans can park free and hop on a shuttle to the Dome from these locations: the State Fairgrounds, the Target at Lake Street, and the malls at Ridgedale, Brookdale, and Southdale.
Now, getting to the Metrodome won't be half as hectic as leaving it.
The game is expected to end just as rush hour begins, so to avoid a major traffic jam, fans also will be able to take those shuttle buses back to their proper lots.
How much time do you think it's going to add on to the rush hour?
We anticipate no more than 15-20 minutes additional travel time.
Now, if you usually drive to work downtown tomorrow, you may want to try one of four things: carpool it, use public transportation, leave before 4 o'clock, or after 6. At the Metrodome, I'm Sylvia Gambardella, WCCO Television News.
It's going to be real messy.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough.
Tomorrow afternoon.
But they've come up with very, very good ideas, contingency plans on how to do it. And the Metrodome has been famous since its construction for finding a way to get all these people, 50,000 people, in that building without hurting downtown traffic. And
It'll be a spin.
they know how to do it. Amy Marsalis is going to be back with a few more words in just a moment. First of all, we think we've done so good at this, we're going to try to toss it to commercial.
No.
See how that works. Oh, what?